Hi everyone, today I am going to talk to you about the absolute bare minimum amount of tools that you will need to make a bow. Whether or not you're going to stick to just no sew glued versions or whether or not you're going to go a little bit more advanced and start doing sewed versions. I'm going to show you literally this is all that is necessary. You don't have to spend an absolute fortune. You don't have to buy a bunch of fancy tools. I'll explain to you the most important key elements that you will absolutely need for no-sew, and if you're going to go into sewing as well. And I will explain a few little extras that you might be interested in if you're going to do specific styles of bow, but do not go out and spend a fortune on fancy equipment until you are 100% certain that this is something that you are going to turn from, like maybe a tiny hobby thing that you do for your relatives or your friends of relatives, into an actual business, because you can spend an absolute fortune on ribbon, patterned ribbon, this tool, that tool, these templates, etc., and go completely overboard before you've actually sort of learnt the craft. So if you want to start out, these are the absolute bare minimum you can get away with, and you can make quite a lot of styles of bows. You don't have to be super fancy. You don't even have to spend a fortune on, like I said, your glue gun and things like that when you first starting. Work out whether or not it's going to be for you, and then start extending your toolkit from there. And if you want me to do a more advanced version where I show you every tool that I have, and I can assure you I have everything you can possibly imagine, because I'm a hoarder and I get slightly obsessed by trying new things, so you'll always see new things. I've already got a video about how to use cam clips, how to use the hot gem wand, how to add heat transfers, and I'm going to do quite a few other bits and pieces like that. I've actually ordered a bias tool just recently, and I've been playing around with that to get the sizes of my 9mm, well, get certain ribbons down to 9mm for middle, as if I haven't actually purchased some for when I'm making my ribbon and things like that. But this is the absolute minimum, and like I said, before you get fancy, these are the things that you should think about when you're starting to make a bow. So the biggest thing I will always say, when you're starting out especially, gross grain ribbon in 1.5 and matching 9 or 10mm ribbon for your centres and lining your clip. Now when you're purchasing your ribbon, this is just as important, because you can't finish a bow and make it look good without that middle. You can hide it with a resin and things like that, but it always looks tidier if you've actually got that matching 9mm to do that. Okay, and like I said, you've got lots and lots and lots of other different types of ribbon. Like I said, I can do a whole video on every different style and what works best for different things, like flowers and all of that kind of stuff. When you're starting out, plain gross grain is your friend, because it's coloured both sides, which patterns, if they've got one, a little bit patterned here, patterns don't. So when you're making things with a pattern that is white backed on the back, when you're making, certain bows just won't look as pretty when you're learning as when they're all one colour all the way through, which is another reason why you go for the plain grace grains, because they're much more forgiving and they will automatically make your bows look that little bit better until you get a bit more into the craft and start learning more about certain methods and to what extent you're gonna take this sort of like side hobby, crafting hobby. Okay, so like I said, gross grain ribbon, the main one for all tutorials, and it doesn't matter whether or not you watch in English, in Russian, in Portuguese, whatever it is that you're actually watching, 1.5 inch ribbon, which is this size, which is 4 centimeters, is the most common size for, I'd say, at least 70% of tutorials. The next most common one after that would be your 1 inch versions, and again that is for the smaller, slightly smaller bands, bows. Like I said, it's still super cute, still useful to have, but like I said, most of them 1.5, 1, and you will also get 3 inch They are the most common sizes of ribbon. You also do get 2 and 2.5 and even higher, but those are the main ones that most tutorials will show. Like I said, the other sizing is slightly harder to get hold of. And like I said, a key thing to remember, what I do when I'm ordering my plain gross grain, no matter if I know I've got my 9mm still in stock, I will always add a meter to my basket anytime in any colour of plain gross grain that I'm ordering, so that I always have some in stock. And I'll just show you something, and don't be horrified because I can't find it any other way. I have this is my box of 9mm on rolls. They all come in 25 metres on a roll, and they normally cost me roughly £5. Sorry, normally cost me about £4 a roll. But I also have this huge box, and as you can see, I have every colour you can possibly dream up that I have used before in there, so I never ever struggle to match my middles, which is, like I said, very important. If I don't have a perfect match, I will always have something that coordinates quite well with it, so that is a key thing to remember. Now when you're starting, this is a Hobbycraft £5 glue gun, and their clearest version of I think it's about a 50 pack of glue sticks. The gun costs £5, the glue sticks cost £5, so that's £10 in total. It's not a lot of money, it's a reasonably good glue gun. This is my backup glue gun that I keep now just in case anything happens to my main one. I always have at least 3 because I am accident prone and I do things that makes them break, or like a bit too forceful, or I'll drop them multiple times until they don't work anymore. So like I said, I always keep quite a few spare because, like I said, they're reasonably priced, and like I said, they don't cost an awful lot of money. But if you're only just starting out, these are perfect for you because, like I said, there's no point in buying the fancier, more expensive versions and the finer tipped and things like that until you know that this is the kind of thing that you're going to get really into. I now have a dual heat large Toplerplex one, which has a 60 and 100 watt, and you can literally click that button and it goes to the higher temperature. I normally keep it on 60 unless I am doing a lot of gluing on tux bows for speed, because obviously it's runnier when it's warmer, which is helpful, like I said, when you're gluing your ribbon and things like that. The rest of the time it stays on 60. And you've got fabric scissors. Now, one thing I will say, always buy good fabric scissors, because they are what you cut your tails with and what you cut your actual ribbon with. I've got some scrap here. So this is some nice daffodil yellow 3-inch, and I'll just show you the difference because I have got fabric scissors, got pinking shears, I've got general kitchen scissors, I've got a little slightly pair of more crafty general ones and some sharper ones. Now, I'll just show you again. That is your fabric scissors. Nice and clean. And you take your lighter and heat seal. No issues whatsoever. Right, general everyday. I hold it exactly the same way. See that? I didn't do anything different, but this is why we don't use general purpose. Again, like I said, I'm genuinely not trying. They're even my sharpest ones of my general ones. And this is your pinking shears. And that's what you get with your pinking. And that's what it looks like when it's heat sealed. But like I said, non-fabric scissors are not built for cutting ribbon. And like I said, you can see just how much of a difference that makes. And like I said, all my others, I'll just show you. I've got paper. There we go. I've got a bit of card that I was using yesterday to work on some bunny ears, just to prove them not blunt. See, not blunt. There's nothing wrong with them. They work for the purposes that they are designed for. So if you're going to pay out for anything when you start making bows, do not scrimp on your fabric scissors, and do not, whatever you do, use them on anything other than your ribbon or fabric, because you will completely blunt your blades and do serious damage, and you'll need a whole new pair, and you will start to see the difference, because at the minute that literally cuts so easy, so clean, everything like that. If you've started using these, say, I've been playing with some glitter canvas material and faux leathers just recently. I contemplated using these on those, but I started cutting with my general scissors and saw the damage that they did to some of that, and decided against it, because it would, especially the diamond glitters and the tinsel glitters, they would destroy a pair of fabric scissors quite easily. So like I said, these ones again, these are Hobbycraft ones. I believe they're the sort of £6 to £10 depending on what time of year it is and whether or not they're in the sale. Like I said, they are worth paying that money. Like I said, if you get the more expensive ones, again, they'll be worth it, especially if you're going to make a lot of things. But like I said, that is one thing I would advise against scrimping on. And then the other thing you've got is your lighter for heat sealing. I like these clippy ones because your finger's not near the heat and you're not going to burn your nail when you're heat sealing, like so. Whereas if you've got the round barrel ones that you sort of flip the wheel, they can get very hot, and it's a lot harder, especially if you're doing a lot of things at once. So like, that's why I like these versions, and they're also refillable if you're not lazy like me. And the other thing I would say, all tutorials that you see on YouTube give measurements. One of the biggest things I see from learners when they're first starting out is, oh, I've only got a ruler, I tried to guess the measurements, oh, I tried to do it using this, I guessed how much I needed for such and such. If you are going to do something more complicated than a tux, spend the £1 in the sewing section of your local pound store or something like that and get a tape measure, because the measurements for a lot of these bows, especially the more complicated ones, such as these, if you are making them up using a ruler or just guessing that you've got the correct sizes, it is not going to work. And no matter how much you try, your bows will not look like the bows that you expect them to turn out like. So like I said, tape measure is a must. And alligator clips. You can get these in all sizes. I have them from 8 centimetres. I'll just check. Yeah, 8 centimetres down to 3 centimetres, and like I said, they come from 80 millimetres down to 30 or 32 millimetres, and like I said, you can get them in a few different varieties. I also have the 2-pronged versions and single-pronged versions as well, so there is that. or you can buy seamless bobbles instead. Or if you really wanted to, if you're mainly going to do babies, I would suggest either fold over elastic, which is this stuff, or you can get nylons, or even make your own nylons depending on what you're into, which are these. So these are super soft, they're great for babies' heads, they don't mark them or anything like that. You can buy them pre-made, or you can buy the super soft nylon tights and make your own by cutting an inch, and then you just sort of roll it like this until it forms this sort of band like so. So that is the very minimum that you would need for a no-sew bow. Now most no-sew start with the pinch, and the most common one is your tux bows, and you can do 3 inch, 2 inch, 1.5, 1 inch, etc. You can double them, you can stack them. The only thing I will say is obviously you can see the bulk on a glued tux, so I'll show you a sewn version in comparison. Once wrapped, they have quite a difference in, like I said, the thickness. So if you're going to start doing more complicated ones, I would start looking into possibly doing the sewn versions. And if you're going to extend to sewn, there's 4 extra things that I would get. Get an actual ruler. Invest in some darning needles, which are stronger and slightly longer needles than your standard sewing needles. And you want, this is what I use, which is the Gutermann Extra Strength Polyester Thread. Don't use cotton. If you're using cotton and your bows are snapping when you're sort of pulling and wrapping, it is because it is not strong enough. You want minimum polyester extra strength, or you can use pearl thread, or you can use upholstery thread. Any 3 of those, those 3 will be good for what you're doing, and it doesn't matter whether or not you're doing flowers or whether or not you're doing something as simple as a tux bow. It will just work better and pull together better, and you can be rougher with it and not worry about things snapping. Okay, and then the last thing, dress pins. Now these will be a lifesaver outside of your clips, which you can also use for keeping things in place when you're doing the more complicated styles. It will even help you keep your less complicated stuff like these in place as you get your stitches in. It will stop things from slipping, it will keep things more even, and it will make your bows just look that little bit better overall as you're learning to sort of build and make your bows as you go. So if you're gonna consider going into bows, like I said, you don't need to spend a fortune. I think at most, I'll go for it all. Alright, let's put everything on the desk and I will tell you roughly the costs of everything. Just put my glue in. There we go. So it is £10 for your glue and your glue gun, £10 for your scissors, so that's £20. You're talking about £1 or 50p for your ruler, so that's 21. £1 for your tape measure, so £22. £1 for your dress making needles, so 23. We're talking the 100 metre rolls of this are about £4.20, so that'll be £28. A pack of these is a pack of 5 of these is about £1.29, so that's £29.30. You can get a pack of alligator clips. I get about 50 to 100 at a time, and like I said, they cost anywhere between £4.50 to about £10 for 100, depending on which size you go. The most common size when you're starting out is 45 mils, so like I said, that will be about £40. A pack of seamless bobbles, decent ones, will cost you about £2 to £3, so that'll be about £35. You can buy a pack of nylons for about £4, that'll be about £45. And you can get your fold over elastic for about 20p, well, anything between 12p to 20p a metre, depending on what kind of patterns that you like. So like I said, that'll be about £45 for everything you would need, roughly, before you start including your ribbon into that. I would say, if you're going to start making basic bows first, get yourself a nice mix of gross grain ribbon in your 1.5. You can get tons and tons and tons of colours. You can even have a look at prints once you've got the hang of things, and you can get lots and lots of different varieties. Like I said, I've got these in silver edged and gold edged and things like that. Like I said, you've got your 3-inch, you've got your 1.5, got one. I've got a lot of 2-inch on order at the moment because I'm expanding some of the sizes of my bows. So like I said, it's roughly, you're looking bare minimum before you even started on your ribbon, like I said, about £45, and that is the minimum that you will sort of be looking to spend to be making as many of the bow styles as you possibly can. I would say roughly £40 if you're just going to do the more basic tux bows and things like that. If you want me to expand any more, please do. Also on Facebook under the same name, Catherine's Ribbon Tutorials and Follow Alongs. Please share, like, subscribe, and don't forget to ring the bell icon for notifications when I release new videos. And I do that every Monday and Friday, and quite a few in between at the moment. So like I said, thank you for watching. Like I said, hopefully you found this super useful, and like I said, I will go into some other bits and pieces and the more extended kit as I go along. But like I said, this is the minimum you need just for your general bows. And like I said, with the sewn version, with those extra bits added, you can start looking into the more fancier stuff. I've got a version of this coming soon. I am working on this one. Do these. I've not finished this one, wrapping the middle yet, but yep. So like I said, just by adding those 3 extra things, the extra strength thread, the darning needle, they sort of expand quite a great deal. So thank you for watching again. Bye.